Hey everyone, what's happening? I get the chat up again. Alright. Hey Simon. Alright, how many people in here? It says there are 5 people in here, but it always shows you as a participant. That's weird. Let's pop this chat out. Go to the other desktop. Okay, can you hear me alright, Simon? Uh, so how you doing, Simon? Hopefully we get a couple more people in here. A little bit late getting started because I had messed something up. But you know, that's what that waiting room video is for. Hi, kitty. Want to come in and say hi? Okay, thank you, Simon. Want to come say hi, Hannah? Yeah. Hi. Okay, you're not too happy with me. Well, that's awesome. You just got done mixing it? What kind of song was it? Hey, Grunkle. How you doing? Looks like we got a couple people in here. The only thing is, it says we got 5 concurrent viewers, but it only shows you 3. Now it says 3. That's kind of strange. Now it still says we got 6. Oh well, I'll never understand YouTube. Okay. Well, man, so you play guitar or sing or what, Simon? The kitty's trying to get into things. Well, you're welcome. We're gonna be messing around with Q4OS today. Um, I've got the VM all set up. I'm just ready to install it. And this shouldn't take nearly as long as Ubuntu because this is only like a 500 megabyte image. So I should have that already. I'm just going to double check that VM before I switch over. So you play both the guitar and the bass? Hopefully not at the same time. I know if you can play both of them at the same time, you're talented. I'll tell you that. Whoops. The kitty will stop bumping my arm. Okay, and system. I forgot to give it 2 CPU cores. There we go. I've been known to play guitar every once in a while. I don't play too much now because mainly just because I just don't have anyone to play with anymore. Now I just do YouTube. Yeah, I have yeah, we're gonna be doing the Trinity version. I'm gonna be messing around with that. I figured we'd do Trinity instead of Plasma because I think Plasma, everyone knows what it looks like. Oh, I already know. I've already installed the Plasma version. There is a reason for that. It's because it pulls down everything that you want from the repositories. No, definitely not at the same time. No, I didn't think so. You need 4 arms. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's switch to the screen. That should switch it to, yeah. Okay, forgive that. I just have to double check that because once it didn't. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead. Oh, and it might help if I attach the ISO too. Alright. I put it on the desktop so I knew where to find it immediately. Open, okay. Uncle, how do you fail on that? Because I can certainly go over that right now if you need to. Because I'm right here in a VM, in VirtualBox. But I certainly can help you with that because it's not hard. You just gotta get a few things right. But yeah, it took me a couple times to get VMs right. But I've been running VMs for about 15 years, so. But if you tell me what the trouble is, I can certainly try and help you out with that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and fire up this VM right here. And we're just going to go ahead and click Classic Install. Alright, so I speak English. I'm in the United States. American English. I've got a kitty right here. And this one looks like it's using the classic Debian installer, where the other one didn't, where the Plasma version didn't. Okay. Oh wait, go back. Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, kitty, that's my microphone. Hi. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit Central. That's my time zone. And oh, okay. Well, the thing is, if you use VirtualBox, everything's practically automated. As long as you select which operating system you want to install in it, it'll recommend how much, and if you follow the recommendations, it should work just fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit guided. Okay, and there we go. This is like the old Debian install. I like it. It's simple and it works. Alright. Okay. Shut up about the bit rate. I already know. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about Macs and how to set them up on the Mac. I've never actually set up a VM on a Mac. So I can't help you out there, but in Linux and in Windows, I can certainly tell you how to set them up. I remember the old Microsoft VM software that they used to do, and that was actually how I used to set up VMs. So, alright, waiting for it to install. Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay. So we've got ourselves. It says that my audio bitrate is 0. What in the YouTube settings? I'll never understand YouTube. So let's bring up OBS here. And let's see what I got my audio set to. My audio rate says that it should be just fine. Okay, YouTube, I'll never, ever, ever understand it. Yeah, I don't like VMware. Yeah, I'm just like YouTube lies. It constantly, and it also doesn't like the bit rate I'm streaming at, but a lot of people use the internet in my area right now, and I can't stream at 2500, so I stream at 15, and YouTube does not like that. It keeps popping up warnings in my face. I'm like, shut up, I know what I'm doing. It works just fine. But but yeah, YouTube is kind of strange. Alright. I'm like, OBS tells me I'm running at an audio 160 kilobytes for the bit rate for the audio, and I'll believe them. But yeah, YouTube is kind of YouTube is kind of crazy. Am I dropping off any as far as my sound goes? I forgot to turn off the internal noise canceling on my microphone. That sometimes gives me issues. Alright. But yeah, I'm glad that at least some people decided to show up. I'm gonna be doing this on. I'm gonna be doing an Arch install on Saturday, the day before Easter. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes if I forget to turn off that internal noise canceling on my microphone, it does that. Mitchell, how you doing? was installing Q4OS Trinity, and I'm waiting for it to install. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just YouTube doing some weird ass crap. So, can I say ass on YouTube? I think we can. So, how you doing, Mitchell? All right, let's yeah, just take a look at this. This is what I'm looking at right here. Is it says the audio stream bitrate is 0, is lower than the recommended bitrate. And I keep closing it out, so I'm like, oh well. Us, okay. Hi, my first computer. How you doing? Yeah, I'm American, and we we say yeah we say ass. So I mean, oh well, I've said it 3 times. Bonjour. Yeah. Okay. Well, don't work too hard, Mitch, because that's no good. I used to work in a job that worked me like 56 to sometimes 72 hours a week, and I didn't like that very much at all. Yeah, I'm currently locked down right now at my job. Don't, I don't even go in uh, until my state says that we can. Because they've outright said I can't go back to work. That they said that they've closed their doors until the state says, "Oh, that's okay." It's okay. I'm getting paid half salary, so I'm not really losing a lot. It's enough to keep the food on the table at least. But yeah, Mitch, don't work too hard because you don't want to burn yourself out. But at least you got to join me in my chat. Uh, here's here's the boss. Uh huh. How you doing? How you doing? Oh. Uh huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good call, Mitch. I mean, if everyone would just stay the heck inside, we'd be over and done with this faster than if people aren't following that recommendation. Yeah, Kitty. Yeah, yeah. She likes to make her appearance on today's video. You saw her head randomly pop up, and I just picked it up. I'm like, yeah, the boss decided to make an appearance. Yeah, it can be. Depending on how old the PC is. I actually have another recommendation as far as older computers goes. Really, for like older than 5 years, and that would be Ubuntu, because that has an extremely light desktop, lighter than Trinity or Plasma. I actually have liked it. I tried the plasma already, but the reason why I chose Trinity is because everybody knows what plasma looks like. So Trinity is not a popular desktop environment, so I figured I'd do this one on the channel. It's got a small image to it, small download, but there's a reason for that. Is because after you install it, you hit full desktop, it pulls everything down from the repositories instead of on the image itself. Really, President Trump said it should be lifted by Easter, but that obviously didn't happen. It's not going to happen. But it's just got to be lifted when it's lifted. I mean, $25 and $16. Actually, yeah, those are good ages. I'm not sure how old Hannah is. She's actually my roommate's cat, but she's become my little buddy at the moment. I want to say that she's like 4 or 5 right now. That's what I want to say. Yeah, Linux Lite is actually pretty nice too. I ought to do a video on Linux Lite, really. But, yeah, yeah, the reason why I choose Ubuntu is just because it's a little lighter. But, I mean, as far as memory goes. But, yeah, both are a good choice. Or, if you are technically inclined, Arch with a window manager for an older machine as well. I once had a computer that was a i686 on it. I installed Arch 32 on it, but don't do unless you absolutely have to. Don't use Arch 32. God, a lot of the stuff on the AUR, even though it will let you use the AUR, will not work. Yeah, yeah, cats. Yeah, 25 is very very old. But and 25 is actually very old for a cat. I once had a cat here that was living. He was like 14 or 15. And that was my roommate's old cat, and he lived to be about 14, 15. And that cat was like one of the nicest cats you'd ever own. And this is actually taking a little bit longer than the other Q4OS installed. We're at we're at 48%. Maybe I should assign it assign my VMs 3 cores, but I usually assign them 2, or just install my operating systems before I start my stream. That might be what I'll do beforehand. What I liked about Q4OS Plasma, it identified VirtualBox out of the box when I started. You know what? How about to kill time? Let's take a no. Let's not take a look at that, because because I'm streaming too, and that might interfere with the stream. if you guys want, we'll take a look at the plasma version in a minute. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ubuntu. There's also a Puppy Linux distributions as well that work really good for older machines as well. So there are a lot of options for old hardware with Linux. Definitely. Um, I like, but I will say Ubuntu, in my experience, is the easiest to get set up and the easiest to use for an older machine. That's why I suggest it. And we're all running Linux. Yeah, like I said, most of my computer runs Linux. Yeah, Puppy Linux distributions are cool. Um, they're not my favorite either. Um, some people have hard time getting them running on machines, and I'd rather have a official Ubuntu distro. Yeah, OpenBox. Yeah, I like OpenBox too, but normally if I'm gonna do a window manager, it's normally i3 though, because I've got pre-configured files already set up. I just have to just go ahead and download i3 and then download my configs, and I get everything running. I don't have config files and a configuration for OpenBox yet. I should. But let's see, for window managers, let's see, I've got config files for i3. That one's on my GitHub. The other ones I haven't uploaded to my GitHub yet, but I got a config file for Awesome. I believe one for Qtile as well. And of course I've got Compton, and that one's on my GitHub as well. I need to update my GitHub really. And I'm thinking about also doing a bunch of videos on window managers and how to run those. Even though I probably will never be as good as Derek. I love Derek is like the window manager master. Yeah, I'm talking about Derek at DistroTube if you don't know who I'm talking about. But I think all four of you are on DistroTube's channel. Hey, Bubbles. I have no idea what that was about. OBS just messed up. If you guys saw a little blank spot, OBS suddenly just stopped broadcasting. I don't know what that was about, but um, actually, I've had some problems with Mint and Macintoshes. or Macs. I usually just install regular Ubuntu, but I don't know why a Mint would have problems, but Ubuntu wouldn't, because Ubuntu is the basis for Mint, but your brain still thinks analog. Yeah, if you're gonna do music production from Linux, Ubuntu Studio has all the tools you need. That might be something you might consider, because it has everything built in. It's got jack audio there. All you have to do is configure jack audio. You've got all kinds of stuff. Grunkle, Debian Buster. Here's why Debian Buster might not be installing on your computer. Debian Buster is a GNU/Linux distribution that includes no free software, no non-free drivers out of the box, unless you go and grab a specialized non-free image. And the way, let's go ahead, let's demonstrate that. It seems like we're talking about this and we're just sitting around. Let's see. Let's go ahead, let's switch on my screen. And you go right here, and we're going to go ahead and, if you download one of these images in the download, right here, you're downloading just something that has no free software for your hardware at all, no non-free software. It only includes all the free drivers. And you would have to go to, let's see, they hide these images. We can go to complete. Let's see, I'm trying to, let's actually search Debian. Let's search it actually. Okay, here it is. And you go here, right here. And if you download one of these from this let's actually go. Yeah, but if you go right, that's probably a driver history. You download one of these images, and you go to like 10.3 non-free right here. Not a live image. Don't download a live image. Download the regular one right here. AMD 64. I always do a BitTorrent DVD. Alright, maybe that's not right. No, that's just the firmware. Oh, yeah, you want to hit the live CD. Whoops. And then basically you choose what desktop environment you want, and it will include all the drivers and firmware. It's been a while since I did that, sorry. But, so, like, actually, let's post this link too. And if you download one of these, it should fix that problem. Because HP has a lot of proprietary drivers that they require. And a lot of HP computers have that issue with Debian, and because of those non-free drivers it requires. Take a look here. Interesting, right? Okay, we're almost done here with But yeah, if you want vanilla Debian Buster, that's the way I always suggest you install. It is used and also those ISOs come with the non-free repositories enabled by default, where the other image that you get from the main site does not. So yeah, if that's what you want to do with your HP, that's the way I suggest you do it. But yes, Ubuntu Studio is awesome. I used to thought, okay, see you later, Mitch. But yeah, I love Ubuntu Studio. You can, if you hit install everything on Ubuntu Studio, it can be a little bit of a bloated install, but if you use all of it, go ahead. Yeah, you can download them either by torrent or you can download them via HTTPS. They're available both ways. I was showing you the torrent, but all you have to do is just find the torrent. Because if it says BT, that's your torrents, and the other one is HTTPS to your browser. I always download my images via torrent just because it's quicker. But I bet you if you download one of those images, that would solve that problem. Oh, it should. And it's almost done. Yay. Then we can get into what we were going to do. Actually, we got to install the VirtualBox Guest Edition first. But Debian can be one of the more infuriating distribution to install. Now, I believe Q4OS has the non-free repositories enabled by default as well. So you shouldn't have that problem with Q4OS either. Okay. Alright. You're welcome. Yeah. It's just all a matter of those non-free drivers. They can wreak havoc on some computer manufacturers if you're not installing proprietary drivers. It can be an annoying part of Debian. Definitely. That's one of Debian's biggest complaints is the fact that they don't include proprietary drivers. but that's for those people that only like to use free and open source software. I'm one of those people who doesn't really care if it's proprietary or not. I need my computer to work, and if I have to use a proprietary driver to do it, I will. I mean, the laptop I'm using right now has an NVIDIA graphics card in it, and of course that is proprietary as hell. So, and that is, but Ubuntu gives you a checkbox to enable those non-free repositories on their distribution, and I think that's the way Debian should do it. Is make it an option from their original CD images. That way, it makes it easier to install. Yeah, some Linux software is backwards compatible with some of that studio software. It can be done with a lot of the plugins. I know Audacity is backward compatible with a lot of proprietary plugins from a lot of audio editing. So I know some of those other programs are as well. So you might want to look into that. But yeah, there are a lot of people who can't go completely Linux, and I'm one of them. Because with one of the things I do for money, requires the Windows operating system. And virtualization, like in a VM, is not an option because the DRM will fail every time. And Wine, of course, fails every time. So there are some people who just can't convert to Linux 100%. But for everything else, I use Linux. So I'd say I'm about 95% Linux. I mean, yeah. I mean, some people like Windows 10, but I'd prefer not to touch it if I didn't have to. The updates are a pain in the ass in Windows. Even though they plan to fix that with the next feature update that's set to release next week. Yeah, Reaper just released some experimental Linux builds, but they're not. They're not officially supported. Jack is an audio backend for operating a lot of audio equipment. There are a lot of drivers for studio equipment that are in Pulse or ULSA, but they're in Jack. My microphone, which happens just to be a cheap $35 microphone, is only works in Jack really. It does work somewhat in ULSA, but it has some issues with ULSA. So I use Jack audio on my computer just to make sure that thing is going to work. I want to get a Blue Yeti eventually. Yeah, it's awesome. The thing is, it is hard to get set up. It can be hard to get set up. It takes a lot of reading the effing manual to get that set up sometimes. Especially if you're like setting up a big studio, you want to read a lot of the manual for Jack. Go to forums, just do all your research. Because yeah, Jack is really powerful, but it also is really complex. Well, okay. It's right here. It's listed right here. It's actually listed as an officially supported thing in Ubuntu Studio right here. It actually says it works out of the box without ULSA, actually. It doesn't even say it requires Jack. But it does say it, however, it does say Jack is recommended for it. But yeah, it does work. Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, a lot of people, they can't use Linux because they have some sort of proprietary system. Okay, Grunkle. Sorry you didn't get to see it, but I'm gonna leave the stream up on my channel if you want to see the rest of it. When this is finished installing, I'm gonna try and do a little demonstration, and then I'll probably be killing it after like 15-20 minutes of looking at the desktop when I get in on it. This is actually taking longer than I anticipated to install. Yeah, I just Googled it and it took me straight to the Ubuntu site that said that was officially supported for Ubuntu Studio. So, hey, if it's officially supported by the distribution, then it's guaranteed to work. Okay, Grunkle. I totally get it. If it's almost midnight, you need to get some sleep. that's a good long while to be up. Yeah. Because, yeah, there are some Linux programs that will work with the other proprietary plugins. You just have to search your specific plugins to see if they work with certain Linux software. Because I know Audacity is compatible with a lot of software's plugins. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Waves works with a lot of Linux software. I'm not sure about the other one. But I'm pretty sure Waves plugins works and is backward compatible. Well, not backwards compatible. What I'm thinking, cross-platform compatible. because basically what I use for audio is Audacity. But I mean, even on my videos, I don't even edit the audio anymore. I've got it down good enough in OBS where I don't have to. But it's pretty much as good as it's gonna get with this microphone until I upgrade. But right now, can't afford to upgrade my mic, so because yeah, I really want that Blue Yeti eventually, though. And after that, I should be set for a while as far as the channel goes. Yeah, what are you planning on doing with it? I could probably help you out with that as far as hardware selection goes. Because, really, if you want a really good, if you're thinking about doing gaming or production, there's certain hardware that you can get. Yeah, what I need to do is start learning how to use QEMU and Vote Manager. I'm not that good with those yet. That's why I don't use them as my main virtualization. I know Vote Manager is backward compatible with VirtualBox. So, I mean, I won't even have to redo my VMs when I switch to Vote Manager too, but I need to do that. Because I hear it's a lot better, a lot faster, and you don't need to install a bunch of extra kernel drivers to get it running because QEMU is built into the Linux kernel already, and it ships with it. But I'm surprised Oracle won't switch to those kernel drivers for virtualization. It makes things a lot easier and a lot faster. Now, I've been thinking since on my laptop I have two GPUs. I've got an NVIDIA GPU and a Intel GPU. And what I was thinking about doing once I update the storage in this thing, because I plan on like buying like a 4 terabyte hard drive and sticking it in here, is doing a Windows 10 install inside a VM and then passing through the Intel GPU to the VM. So you get native performance with your GPU inside your VM. I've been thinking about trying to get that set up because I know that's possible to do. Now, granted, a lot of people say that's impractical, but you know what? I like messing around with things, and that sounds amazing. Okay. Now, as far as you want quad core, a decent graphics card. Now, I would highly suggest for a graphics card, unless you're like using something like DaVinci Resolve or something, try and get an AMD graphics card. the kernel drivers are actually amazing for AMD, but even though on this particular laptop I'm using NVIDIA, but someone basically donated this laptop to me, so I wasn't going to complain about it at all. As a matter of fact, NVIDIA still works great. It works a lot better than it used to. Because the last time I used an NVIDIA graphics card with Linux, it was, I want to say, 8-10 years ago, and it was terrible. Even if you installed the proprietary drivers 8-10 years ago, it was terrible. But by the time the graphics card that was recommended was Intel graphics back then. Because Intel graphics cards for the iGPUs were always open source, so all those drivers were already built into the kernel. Now I don't know why NVIDIA doesn't open source. Yeah, because AMD's graphics cards are open source drivers, and they ship with the kernel. So they're pretty much guaranteed to work out of the box. NVIDIA graphics can give you some issues depending on whether or not your distribution chooses to ship the Nouveau driver by default or the NVIDIA driver by default. Or if they choose just to rip that out of the kernel, because some distributions will rip the Nouveau open source driver even out of the kernel. Which I don't know why. It's open source. But yeah, if you're gonna do anything with Linux, I always suggest do AMD if you're doing a desktop. Now with gaming laptops, the only thing you can do if you have a discrete GPU is to have an NVIDIA card, because AMD doesn't do mobile cards. The only thing that AMD will do is an integrated APU for graphics for a laptop. So if you're planning on getting a gaming laptop, you're gonna have to go NVIDIA. That's your only choice, which sucks, but gosh, this is taking forever. I wish it didn't. Yeah, next time I demonstrate something like this, except for the Arch install, I think I'm gonna pre-install it. That way, we're not sitting here waiting for it to install. Even though Grub should be one of the last things it does. But AMD works great. I hear even the new Vega graphics and all that stuff all work great with that open source driver. Yeah, well, the thing is, when I installed Q4OS on um, with the Plasma desktop, it only took about 16 minutes to install, and that included pulling everything down. Yeah, yeah, definitely check out those AMD graphics cards if you plan on building a Linux machine. Yeah, the Compaq. Yeah, does Compaq even exist anymore? I don't think Compaq compute as a brand exists anymore. I think they were done. I think they actually went. I think they actually went extinct. Yeah, I think they went extinct. $12-year-old machine, and you still get 5 hours off the battery. Wow. You must have really taken care of that battery, because 5 hours off of a 12-year-old battery, unless you've replaced the battery. Because usually after 12 years, usually those batteries give up the ghost long before then. I've never had a battery that's really lasted much more than a couple years, a couple hours, off of like a 6-year-old battery. Oh, you don't remember? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, you don't know because you bought it only 3 years ago. Okay, so it might have been replaced. Because I'm like 12-year-old battery. That would be excellent if it was still 12 years old. Yeah, yeah. I would imagine a 12-year-old laptop probably wouldn't even support Windows 10 at this point. Windows 10 sucks as far as older hardware goes. It sucks anyway, but I mean, there's a computer that ran Windows 7 that I have because it didn't run Windows 10. And that thing, I want to say it's 12 years old too. Well, maybe not 12. Windows 7? Yeah, it could be 12 years old. I doubt it ran very good. As far as Windows 10 goes. Yeah, I would say it was pretty painful. I mean, Windows 10 probably would install and probably might start up, but it's going to probably be slow. Slow and slow. Yeah. Yeah, Peppermint would probably be a really good choice for that. Because, yeah, I wouldn't even attempt Windows 10 on a laptop that old. I mean, I just wouldn't attempt it. But, no, yeah. I want, yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. Because, I mean, Linux works great with old hardware still. I mean, on Biddle they were saying it's not so much though. I'm like, no, it still works great with old hardware. The kernel works great with old hardware. The only thing is, a lot of distros are stopping the support for 32-bit processors now because Ubuntu killed 64 or 32-bit ISOs. I want to say in 1810. I want to say that's when they killed it. Or was it 1904? It might have been 1904. And then, let's see, Arch killed 32-bit ISO a long time ago. Yeah, surfing document terminal stuff. Yeah, yeah. A machine definitely like that would be good for basic tasks. Now, if you tried to run gaming on it, I don't think we would get that. Yeah, even peppermint these days is starting to kill off 32-bit support because when they get to maintain and update peppermint, it's going to be based off of 20.04, and 20.04 is not going to support 32-bit. Yeah. I doubt you want to hear my opinion on Max, though. Because my opinion on on Apple Max, I doubt. Yeah, I doubt that you want to hear it. You might, but yeah, to me, Apple, as far as Macs go, I think they're overpriced pieces of crap. Really, that's my opinion on Apple and pretty much all their recent products. Yeah, yeah, I would. Yeah, I catch a lot of heat for saying that, but I'm like, no, Macs for what you pay for them, they're not worth it. When I can get a computer that's better specs and newer generation hardware for half the price. It's not worth what they charge for them. At least in my opinion. I mean, my workflow on my GNOME desktop here for my Pop OS, a lot of people think I'm running the Mac when they take a brief look at it. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Apple right now. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, but to me, I'm like, Max, yeah, yeah, iPhones, those prices have gotten ridiculous. God, um, I'm just like, those, the thing is, iPhones are always mostly a couple generations behind Android, and I'm like, I can buy a decent Android for a couple $100, and but like the newest, like the iPhone, what 11 was like seven. It was like what $1,200. It's ridiculous. And I got into an argument with my sister once about that. I was like, I don't know why you spend that much on a phone, and she just likes iOS. But I'm like, baseball. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can't do on an Android that you can't do on an iPhone. So, yeah, I just think it's ridiculous how much Apple charges for their stuff these days. Basically, you're paying for the Apple name, and for something that's that expensive, it better be better than anything else. And if it's not, then I'm not going to give you my money. Um, I mean, I have like an LG X Charge, and it's a couple years old now. and that cost me like something like $140, and it had a really good battery life. It's gone down now. I mean, it needs to be replaced now because it's like over 3 years old now. Yeah, I think it's like over 3 years old now, and yeah, the battery is not as good as it used to be. But when it was, that battery lasted like 2-3 days. And I doubt an iPhone could last that long. Yeah, that yeah, yeah. What that brand though? Yeah, what that? How do you pronounce it? I forgot how. But that brand got in a little bit of trouble as far as privacy goes. Not too long ago. But in my opinion, on if you don't like the operating system on a phone, make sure that you can unlock the bootloader and then put your own version of Android on it, or Lineage or something like that. Yeah, iPhones. Yeah, no. I'm like, there's no point of it being. To me, there's no point of you having a cell phone if you can't go at least 12 hours on a battery charge, especially when you buy it. I mean, the whole point of it is to be a portable phone, and you shouldn't have to always have to carry around a charger to make sure your phone's gonna work all day on a full charge. At least that's the way I see it. There's no point because what if I want to leave all day? Now, if I'm going out for a ridiculous amount of time, then yeah, then a charge would make sense. But I shouldn't have to carry around. Yeah. Well, yeah, it gets used, but I mean, still, just sitting at idle. A lot of these phones won't last a day, even if you just use it for basic tasks like calling and texting. So, and I think that's just ridiculous. But yeah, not having a good battery is no use to anybody, as far as I know. Just sitting around. Gosh, this is taking forever. Uh, yeah, but yeah, long story short is no, I'm not a big fan of Apple. Yeah. I liked Mac OS up till about, I want to say, Snow Leopard, and then then once you started getting into Jaguar stuff, they started taking away a lot of your customization. Yeah, it's yep. That's one of the reasons to use Linux is so you can just hi Hannah, so you can just change anything you want. Even though Mac OS claims that they keep the kernel open, completely 100% open source, you never really know because they keep the operating system closed because it's BSD. Which I find kind of strange. They claim their kernel's open, but then they lock down the rest of it, and because it's BSD license, you really don't know if they're holding something back from the open source part of their Darwin kernel. So you can't really trust Apple because they say it's open source. Well, that it is. It's fun. And yeah, when you get into window managers, that's when customization becomes really fun now. Because then you pretty much have to customize everything out of the box. If you like to tinker. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing about Mac OS is you have to run it the way they want you to. And if you even try to update a lot of the system INI files, it craps itself. So, which distro of Arco Linux did you run as far as desktop environments? Because I know there's like 3 or 4 desktop environments they ship, and a couple of more window managers. Okay, that's right. You were telling me that. Yeah, BS, yeah, BSPWM. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Then, yeah, I always suggest you pull down, especially if you're starting out on a window manager. You go and find someone else's config and start there. Or like an i3, it'll build a config file for you. And Awesome builds its own config file too. So yeah. Well, yeah, you just keep your stuff backed up. Yeah, I always suggest you keep your config files backed up. Even on my GNOME system, I've got the config files zipped up and sitting on a Google Drive. I mean, I keep those backed up too. Even for my GNOME desktop. That way, in case something happens, I can just install an operating system and install the extensions and then restore the config. But yeah, I always suggest before even editing a config, you make a copy of it somewhere on your hard drive. That way, if you break it, you can just recopy it. At least that's the way I see it. Is yeah, awesome. WM is yeah, awesome. WM is actually a really good one too. Chris Titus Tech uses awesome, and I've used awesome in the past too. As a matter of fact, I probably should get an awesome config back going. Because I'm pretty sure if I pulled down my old config, I bet you I'd want to make a lot of changes because it's been, I want to say, at least a year since I used awesome. Hey ZG, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, he does. Yeah, he certainly did. And for a long time, he was using KDE. But yeah, he really did make that work. Matter of fact, I wouldn't necessarily mind living in Awesome, but the fact of the matter is, and I know a lot of people would, a lot of other power users of Linux would probably make fun of me. I like my GNOME desktop. I just do. A lot of people are like, well, GNOME is. Yeah, he does. Yeah, Chris does a lot of things with Awesome. And the thing is about it is, the thing about GNOME is I just happen to like it. I've used it for years. And ever since they fixed a lot of the, the thing is, with GNOME, when they fixed the performance issues with GNOME, I liked it even more. I mean, yes, it has gotten really good. But I mean, a lot of power users are just like, well, GNOME is so bloated and stuff. But to me, it works. GNOME works. Yeah. I mean, now there's some things like tiling and stuff, and Pop. The thing is, Pop!OS is coming up with Pop Shell, but the thing is, it's still in beta, so I really haven't taken a look at it yet. Taken a couple looks at it, but this current version of Pop!OS, I still haven't upgraded it for 20.04 base, so it's not running 3.36, so I cannot run Pop Shell on it yet. So that's my experience. Is yes, it is. I mean, as you can see right here on my screen. Whoa, I'm not even broadcasting my stream, am I? As you can see on my screen, I even disabled my app menu right down here because I don't ever use it. I have a little app launcher right here, but that's about all I keep. Because I still think the built-in default menu for GNOME is terrible. The way they've made it better because you can set up folders and stuff in it, but I just prefer just give me my little launcher right here, categorized already, and give me my search give me my search function. That's all I need. And I hardly even touch this. I hardly even touch this. So yeah, that's the way I get. That's the way I usually use GNOME. Is very keyboard centered, and I hardly ever try and use my app launcher. And next time I do one of these live streams, unless the purpose is to install it, like the Arch install, I think I'm going to install it first because this has really been installing almost the whole stream. This is even taking longer than Ubuntu did in the last stream, which I am surprised. We were sitting at 94%. I'm gonna check something. Yeah, this is. Oh, I think I found out why it's taking so long. Apparently, it never upgraded to 4 gigabytes of RAM for my VM. That might explain it, but I can't change it now. Q4OS Trinity. And it's taking forever. I just figured out why, because it says it only has a gig of RAM for some reason. And I thought I entered in 4 gigs. Apparently that setting didn't take, and I never caught it. That actually might be why. Because yeah, it shouldn't be taking an hour and a half to install in a freaking VM, even a VM. Okay. Yeah, one of the cool OpenGL screensavers, yeah. Well, pretty much with yeah, I can. Yep, RAM definitely can affect install time. Anything as far as hardware goes can affect your install time. RAM, CPU, your CPU cooling, your video card, that all can affect your install time. Yeah, next time I'm just going to make sure everything's installed before I start. That way we're not sitting here just waiting for it to install. I mean, Ubuntu only took me, what, half an hour to have it installed. Solus is pretty quick. Arch is actually pretty quick as well. But Arch is basically you just start it up and then we'll pull everything down from the repos but if you got the moves set up right with Arch, you shouldn't have a problem. Second. But yeah, well, the thing about Arch, as far as Arch is not the quickest. Solus, I would say, is probably quicker than Arch, and here's why. Arch is a command line, so you have to have everything configured in the command line, whereas Solus is, I believe, is a graphical install. Yeah, but Gen 2 still on that thread ripper can still take a while to compile. I'd say Gen 2 still on that thread ripper probably would take about an hour. For Gen 2? Yeah, you can definitely make your own ISO for Gen 2. I mean, there are some for Gen 2 based distributions that have done that. Q4OS is a Gen 2 based distribution, and that doesn't take, and that's already pre-compiled for you as far as the kernel goes. And then you have Calculate Linux as well, and that doesn't take very long to install either. Oh, but yeah, Arch you can. I mean, Arco Linux and Manjaro and all that stuff, that proves you can make your own ISO. But still, you still have to build your own installer if you want it graphical. Or your own script to do it. I mean, there's some scripts out there that can install Arch for you. Yeah, you can do that. But I mean, literally, even if you have a but honestly, if you have a good internet connection, pulling everything down from the repos is just probably as quick. Because really, to put all the stuff you need into the ISO is probably going to take more time to make than building your own ISO. Because building your own ISO will probably take longer actually than pulling it down from the repos when you install. And then at least Arch doesn't make you compile the kernel. But there's a reason why Gen 2 tells you, makes you compile your kernel. And it looks like we're done. Yay, finally. Okay, now it's installing the bootloader. And then I think I gotta shut this VM off and put the correct amount of RAM in it. But Gentoo allows you to compile your own kernel, because if you're using it for a specialized piece of hardware, you may just want a customized kernel with just the modules that you want. Like, let's just say if you were like running a fluorescent sign, you'd only need the modules just to run that fluorescent sign and whatever you were doing. And that's it. That's all you would need. You don't need a big install of Linux to run a fluorescent sign. Well, yeah, because also when you install, well, the thing is, with something like CloverOS, a lot of the stuff you need for it, and it's open box based, is already compiled for you. If you already pull down a compile with that a precompiled kernel for Gentoo, you're still compiling all the other packages when you run the emerge command for portage. So Gentoo likes to Gentoo updates, except for a few of them, compile on your machine. Come on over here. I've got a kitty. Yeah, I've got a kitty again. Alright, kitty. Okay. Alright, now it says it's complete, so now we're just going to go ahead and turn this off. Alright. Now we're going to fire it up. After I go and change that RAM. Yeah, because that was, there's my problem. Because that should have been 4 gigabytes all along. Let's go ahead, let's start that up. Oh, whoops. Power that off real quick. Got to take out the ISO. Yeah, oh no, it was already automatically. That's right. VirtualBox now does that. There it goes. Sorry this all took so long. And because this has been going on for more. And here's the sign-in screen. And that should start it up. Configuring desktop theme. Yes, I know. Cancel that for right now because I don't have VirtualBox installed. Okay. Trinity, that's what I want. I'll just go ahead and do the basic. This shouldn't take too long. If it does, then Yeah, they started doing that recently with a recent upgrade. I've noticed that I go to remove that ISO and it's already removed for me. Oh, you, oh, for some reason my keyboard shortcut didn't work. I'm going to be rebooting the VM anyway, but you'll be able to see it then. But um, for some reason my keyboard shortcut didn't switch scenes. My bad. But yeah, as you can definitely see, I'm going to leave it on this. Because this isn't taking very long to install those extra packages. Waiting, more waiting. Oh, I'm just doing the basic install for the packages. So basic utilities. So I would say just a few minutes. It's already 75% downloaded, so, and then I'll run through installing them, and it shouldn't take that long. With the full install, it usually takes about 20 minutes. So I would say probably 10. Because yeah, Q4OS should not have taken that long to install. Because it only installs the base system, and then you pull down the rest of the packages you want from the repositories. There it goes, good old APT. So da Okay. Just give me 1 second. here. And okay. Game section. Alright. Alright. Okay. Now basically what we're doing is installing the base packages right now. Well, what do I think is the best distro? Well, okay. That's the fact of the matter is, what is the best distro out there? Can be a subjective question. Basically, what the best distro for me? I typically like a Debian base, anything in the Debian family, but normally I run Ubuntu based distros. So I would say Ubuntu is about the best for me. But the thing is, I'm to the point where I can say distribution doesn't matter, because no matter what distro I install, I can get it working the way I want to, no matter what I'm running. I'm of the opinion with Chris Titus Tech, distribution does not matter. Linux is Linux. But to new users, distribution certainly does matter. So one of those things is, yeah, distribution matters, but it doesn't, but it still does. One of those little redundant. The only thing that matters from distro to distro is your update cycle, whether you want a static LTS that's supported for a long time, like Debian or Ubuntu LTS, or whether you want a point release that updates frequently, like your Linux Mint, or your Ubuntu intermittent point releases that update every 6 months, or if you want a constantly rolling package update cycle, like Arch, Gen 2, Void Linux. That's where it really matters, is what update cycle you want, because really a distribution is just a starting point. That's all it is, and how often the developers update your packages. And when I say update, I mean feature updates, as in updating from different version to different version. I'm not talking about security updates, because if the distribution's maintained, they're going to push the security patches without changing your workflow. But unless if you're on a rolling release. But really, the only thing that matters in a distribution is whether you want a rolling release, a point release, or a static LTS release. That's going to last you a long time without you having to upgrade your package, upgrade your operating system version. That's really where it matters. Just making sure. So I hope that answered your question about what I think is the best distro. But really, no matter who you ask, you're probably going to get a different answer from anybody. But yeah, to me, distribution doesn't matter. Yeah, definitely, Simon. The best distro is the one that works, and I have, and of late with modern Linux distributions, especially the major ones, I have not found one that does not work. um, Now, back in the days when I started Linux, there were some distributions that didn't work, or there were distributions that worked better than others. However, now is the case, most distros will work out of the box. Now, granted, nowadays is how much work you want to put into them to get them to work. Like Arch, you're going to put in some work to get it to work. Gentoo, you're definitely going to put a lot of work into it. Now, I would never call a rolling distribution a stable, really, at all. And the reason being is because the way they push out their packages, yeah, they do test them a little bit, but the way they push out their packages, you could every time you click that update button or run that update from the terminal, you run the risk of breaking your system or getting a new version of a piece of software and your workflow changing, etc. Yes, a rolling distribution may be stable as far as not breaking a whole lot, but you still could end up breaking your system if you're not watching it. And even Manjaro that holds back their packages for 2 weeks from Arch, I find Manjaro breaks a lot more than Arch does. I don't know why, but to me, that's been my experience with Manjaro. But I would never call a rolling release a stable release. Because yeah, those rolling releases, they change so drastically. One day you could have 2 updates, and then the next day you're upgrading 50 to 200 packages, which drastically changes everything, all your packages and the way your operating system works. And that could be in the realm of 24 hours. So that's why I wouldn't call a rolling distribution ever stable. I like a distribution that's not going to change on me and break on me. That's why I choose Ubuntu typically, because that rolls forward every 6 months. And that way I know 6 months I can plan a day where I can upgrade my operating system and then get used to any changes that are being made to it in about 24 hours. And that day I can plan on having nothing productive to do. And that way I have all my production done, my videos done, everything will be done. And that way, if something breaks, if something changes on that day I upgrade, I will notice it and I will get used to it. And that way I don't sacrifice my productivity. But there are lots of times where where I don't necessarily have time to figure out how the latest rolling update either changed my system and the way it worked or broke my system, because I actually have work to get done on my machine. Now, so that's why I like Ubuntu and stable point releases or LTS releases. Even though I'm one of the people who will roll forward his Ubuntu base every 6 months, because I find LTS after about a year is a little bit too old for me. But what? Go ahead and say your thought. That's not always an option, Zaichi, Zaichi or whatever. That's not always an option to roll back your packages. There are some situations where you may not be able to roll back your packages in Arch or on OpenSUSE. Yes, sometimes it is an option, but you can't count on that with Arch. Especially now, kernels, yes, you can roll those back because Arch, I believe, keeps like 3 or 4 kernels by default, and Arch also has the ability to run the current LTS kernel, which is 5.4, I believe now. But the thing is, if you update and then you decide that you want to roll back a package, but if you've updated again, chances are if you roll back a package, you're rolling back libraries, and you could end up breaking your system even more when you're rolling back a package. If you're rolling them back, let's just say if you push a full... not recommended with a rolling system, and here's why. If you hold, let's just say you hold back GIMP as a as the application. Well, yes, that's going to keep GIMP the way it is. But the GTK libraries, unless you're blacklisting your whole GTK list of applications, those GTK libraries are going to roll forward. And if your GIMP is out of date and you're getting new libraries, you may end up breaking your GIMP install or breaking your entire GTK library set. So if you're holding back packages in Arch and you're not holding back everything it depends on, then you could end up breaking the package you're holding. And the thing is, and that will only work if you're holding the GTK libraries back. That will only work if you only have one GTK app installed. Let's just say you're running GNOME, forget it. You can't hold back your GTK libraries because that GNOME's going to roll forward and then you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. So, yes, you can blacklist applications from upgrading, but that's not really a good idea either. If you want to keep packages from updating, I've used Arch. Hi, Nikita, by the way. And yes, I've used Arch. And Arch can be worth it. If you really like everything being up to date all the time on the bleeding edge, Arch is definitely worth it. However, if you like a more stable environment that you know is not going to break, then Arch is definitely not recommended. And the thing is, rolling releases tend to like to, even though they've kind of buckled them down a little bit, tend to break themselves every once in a while because everything's on the bleeding edge. And when you're getting the bleeding edge packages, you're also getting the bleeding edge bugs along with them. Well, the thing is, Arch, as far as breaking goes, yeah, you do run that risk. And that's why I choose not to run Arch as my mainline computer. His operating system is because I can't afford to have something break. Because I run a business off my computer, and I run a business off my computer. I run a YouTube channel off the. Well, yeah, it can be fixed, but if you get that rolling update, it could take 3 days for them to release the fix and then push it to the repository. Then, but then you ended up you could end up with that living with that bug that broke your system for 3 days. So yes, they can be fixed in a short period of time, but that's as fast as the developer fixes it, and as fast as the Arch team or wherever you get it from gets pushed to the repos, and that can take 2, 3, 4 days. And so yes, it can be fixed in a short amount of time, definitely. But you can be waiting a couple days to fix it. But back to breaking packages. It really all depends on what you want your system to do. And if you're one of those people who can't risk their system breaking, Arch is definitely not Arch, OpenSUSE, Gentoo, Floyd Linux, those rolling releases, Debian SID, those are not going to be the ones for you. Oops, wrong button. So I hope that answered your question, Nikita. But really, as far as whether it's worth it or not, if really up to date, the latest software is important to you, yes, Arch would be worth it. Yes, yes, they can. When you're upgrading from version to version, they can break. But as I was saying before, like Ubuntu, I update every 6 months. I'm in control of what day I'm upgrading. I can make sure I have all my work done, my video produced, my videos produced for like a day or two, my business work done. Everything can be done for the next couple of days, and then I can. But then I can go ahead and choose which day I roll my system forward when it's convenient, and then I can deal with anything that breaks that day or over the next couple of days and make sure I have most of my important stuff already done. With a rolling release, I do not have that option. And yes, backups should always be made regardless of the system. But then again, still running a system like TimeShift still takes time to roll back your system. So if a package breaks on Arch and you grab run TimeShift, that's still time that it takes. And if I have something I need done, I mean, that TimeShift can take 20 minutes to restore, and time is money. Especially if you have to get something done. But the fact about the matter is, when you're running rolling releases like Arch, you have to keep that in mind. Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, Outs can be pretty. Outs can still continue to work if you know how to maintain it. But the thing is, I can't. Yes, and he runs. I believe actually he runs Arco Linux, which is Arch based. But and he does YouTube, and the thing is, I think he's been running Arch a long time. But the thing is, with Arch, I'm just not comfortable running a business and YouTube and everything else I run on my computer, and risking the system coming crashing down and having to figure out things and fix it, because literally trying to figure out how a package broke your system, or if a program updates and it changes something in the workflow of the program, have to relearn the workflow. I mean, I just can't deal with that. I'm unwilling to deal with that. I'm willing to deal with it once every 6 months when I update my Ubuntu base, but every day, from day to day, wondering when they're going to change something about my workflow, I can't deal with that. But there are people out there that do run Arch-based systems successfully. I mean, Chris Titus Tech, I believe, runs Arch-based systems. DistroTube, he runs Arch-based systems. There are quite a few. The Linux Gamer, he runs Manjaro, which is an Arch-based system. And people do it successfully. I'm not saying that they don't. It's just not for me on my mainline computer. Now I do have another computer that I wouldn't have a problem running Arch on, because I have a computer with a stable base. But for my mainline computer, stable Ubuntu, that's going to stay the same for 6 months. And then I can control when that changes, because even after that 6 months on the intermittent point releases that non-LTS, I still have 3 more months before that goes end of life. Yeah, in my experience with Manjaro, is that broke more often than my Arch installs ever did. Yeah, Arch does run. Yeah, I'm not saying Arch doesn't run well. All I'm saying is Arch has a greater possibility of breaking than Ubuntu, Debian, all the static point releases. Is because they roll forward every package. As soon as a new version is released, it rolls forward. And yes, it can run well, but also it can also break just as easy as it can run. And it's not that I'm trying to talk crap on Arch, it's just a reality of Arch that it can break. Yeah, it is. It is taking too long. Next time I'm going to make sure I install everything, because we're not going to have much time. This should not have taken this long. We should have... I was planning on being done by this time. Because the reason why I didn't install is because I was running a Zoom a Zoom conference while I was installing the last Q4OS, and it took less than half an hour, and then this one's taking going on 2.5 hours. and it shouldn't have taken this long. I have no idea. Now the 1 GB of RAM certainly didn't help, but still, I don't think it should have taken that long. Because I'm running a Core i5 on here, so it's at 2.5 gigahertz. It shouldn't have taken this long. So either it's something with the image, or I messed up the VM setup. But um, but yeah, this installation is taking a ridiculous amount of time. I have no idea why. Because honestly, Ubuntu, which is a much more bloated install than this thing is, took less time. Okay, Ubuntu, about hitting on Ubuntu. I don't really give a flying crap about people hating on Ubuntu. Now, those who hate on Ubuntu, hate on them for two reasons. One is the Amazon Lens thing they did with the Unity desktop. Now, they say, well, Lens was tracking you and stuff. That was not true. It was an advertisement that they were placing right on your desktop. And actually, when they started doing that, I left Ubuntu for that reason. Was because ads were like appearing right on my desktop in my app launcher menu, and I didn't like that. So I immediately left Ubuntu when stuff started showing up on my desktop that shouldn't have showed up on my desktop. But I mean, it wasn't really collecting any information because it wasn't doing any personalized ads, etc. But yes, it was a privacy breach in protocol when they did that. And it was stupid, and I didn't like. And another thing is, a lot of Ubuntu technology, especially with Canonical, is proprietary. I mean, the Snap distribution system that they maintain, the server-side cloud that runs Snaps, is proprietary. I'll answer that question in a second. And stuff like that. And they were running for a while, they were running cloud storage that was proprietary. They were offering cloud storage that was proprietary. Canonical has a lot of proprietary technologies that they use in Ubuntu. But really, as far as what people hate about Ubuntu, I really don't care. Now, as far as saying Ubuntu is the devil, like Chris Titus Tech says, who cares? But I mean, literally, and he's normally joking. I mean, I know he likes Ubuntu, which is based off of Ubuntu, etc. But as far as people utterly hating on Ubuntu, they can think what they want. They don't have to run it. And that's the way I see it. What distro did I switch to on that one? I went back to straight vanilla Debian. And then when they stopped the Amazon Lens thing, I went back to Ubuntu. But the thing is, I've ran them all. I've ran everything that's based off of Ubuntu MX. I've ran event, Linux Mint, Linux Mint Debian Edition. Pretty much anything that's based on Debian is what I run normally. Something in the Debian family. And but right now this computer isn't even running straight line Ubuntu, it's running Pop!OS. And I did that because this runs an NVIDIA graphics card, and I wanted to be sure the NVIDIA driver was installed by default. And I was lazy. I was just being lazy because I can get it installed, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to jump through the hoops of getting the NVIDIA driver installed. It was just laziness why I didn't install mainline Ubuntu. But that's why Ubuntu. Now Ubuntu, I will say, does deserve a little bit of the hate it gets, but I think Ubuntu's kind of learned their lesson as far as putting ads on people. Okay. Well, I probably will end up building a PC. Well, yes. I did try to install. The Linux Mint Debian Edition, but I wanted an Ubuntu base because Linux Mint Debian Edition is a little bit old for me. It runs older packages because it's based on Debian. But why didn't I build a PC instead of buying a laptop? Well, the laptop I have was actually donated to me for the channel. Someone actually gave me this laptop for the channel. So I didn't actually buy the laptop I have. I do eventually plan on building a PC, but right now I just don't have the money to do it. This stuff takes money. I mean, even producing YouTube videos and sitting here streaming and stuff is time. I mean, YouTube and all this stuff is not free. So, but the thing is, I do all right, but it's just a money thing. So, also, the thing is, if I am only going to have one computer, it's going to be a laptop because I got to be able to take my work with me. So, I will always have a laptop. But also, I have nothing against having a desktop as well. But I will always have a laptop. Because based off of what I do with my laptop and business-wise, all that stuff, sometimes I'm on the go and I gotta take it with me. And it's hard to lug a desktop around everywhere. So, yeah, if I had to choose between a laptop and a desktop, it's going to be a laptop first. But, but the thing is, I've already spec'd out what kind of desktop I will have. And it's going to be an AMD build, because I like AMD processors. And it's definitely going to have an AMD graphics card, so I don't have to deal with NVIDIA drivers. But, I mean, I can deal with NVIDIA drivers. My laptop proves that I can deal with NVIDIA drivers. But, if I don't have to, I'm not going to. Yep, exactly. But like I said, if I don't have the money, if I only have the money for one, okay. The arts forms, I don't like them. I don't like the arts forms right now because there are a lot of people out there that are intentionally hostile especially to new users. A lot of Arch advocates always encourage the new users will just switch to Arch, and then they're given the forms, and then when they ask newbie questions, they get either a snarky answer, or they get the answer RTFM, or a bunch of other stuff that really is unnecessary. And honestly, if that's the way you're going to treat new users on your platform, is you're going to tell them to use it, and then when they ask for help, you're going to get a rude or a snarky answer from a lot of the Arch guys, then that's kind of like leaving them up you know what creek without a paddle, especially with the way that Arch installs and all that stuff. If you can't get your question answered on the official Arch forums without some sort of smart ass giving a snarky answer, or some mean guy giving you, just telling you to read the effing manual. Well, you don't have to use Vim. When you install Arch, they used to include Nano on the Arch ISO, but they took that out for some reason. They should always include Nano. You have to install Nano to edit your stuff, but you can use Nano. I mean, I don't like using Vim either, but Nano works. Nikita, Saturday at 2 o'clock on this channel, I will be installing Arch inside of VM. And that will be the purpose, is getting it installed. And I'll show you how to do it without Vim, because I don't use Vim either. But no, you don't need to use Vim to install Arch. And those people people who use Vim on their demos in their Arch install tutorials, I think honestly, I'm just going to say they're kind of making it harder than it needs to be for the new user. No, they don't, and they should. They should include one of them, because they used to include Nano, but now they don't, and I don't know why. No, I will not be setting up encryption on that. And the reason being is because I'll be doing it in a VM, and yes, you can set up an LVM encryption, etc., inside a VM, but that sometimes ends up breaking. So I will not be setting up encryption. But I will admit, encryption is important. I mean, I've got my hard drive encrypted on my Linux laptop. The hard drive, the actual hard drive, the boot drive isn't, because I don't keep anything important on that, but the hard drive is LVM encrypted. Well, not LVM encrypted, but it's encrypted. No, Arch by default includes everything you need to install to access a wired connection and a wireless connection. They at least on the ISO, because the ISO will connect to a wired. It may not install it, but the thing is, when you pull it down, actually, I've never heard of a Arch install never accessing a wired connection. Arch sometimes has problems installing accessing a wireless connection, but I've never had an Arch install never accept a wired connection. Yep. Yes. People can use the guide. As a matter of fact, what I plan on doing is recording while I'm streaming, and then editing out all the stream parts of it, like me checking the chat and stuff, and posting it as a guide for people who don't want to sort through all the stream chat. But yeah, but if you want, I will be streaming at 2 o'clock on Saturday, which is the day before Easter, and I will be actually installing Arch in a VM. That's actually been on the schedule since last week. Matter of fact, I gotta get that scheduled tonight on YouTube so I can have the key ready for Twitch, not for Twitch, but for OBS. But yeah, but the thing is, so yeah, if you're interested in installing Arch, finally it is finished. If you're interested in learning and seeing someone install Arch, then join me on Saturday. We're gonna restart the VM, and then I'm gonna log in. And we're gonna take a quick look at this, and then I think I'm gonna kill the stream. Yes, you can, but you can also do that in Nano as well. As long as you have a text editor, you can edit the pseudo-OS file. But I always just use the wheel group and Arch install and just add my user to the wheel group, and then that way I have sudo privileges as well. So let's get this logged in. And we're just going to look at this resolution because I'm not going to bother to install VirtualBox guest editions on the stream because this has already taken too long. Well, maybe I might. Okay. It's not wanting to bring up the guest edition. Well, actually, guest edition shouldn't take that long. Let's install guest editions, because that's not going to take long. Okay. Wait a minute. Devices. Let's try this again. Force unmount. Don't ever do that on a real machine. Okay, it's not going to automatically do that, but fine. If that's what you're going to do, fine. We'll go ahead and we'll go into a terminal here. Now, terminal console. Okay. And now we're going to go cd slash. Yeah, okay. ls. And this should be in the media file, in the folder. Yeah. Nope. And now CDs has CD-ROM 0. Maybe not. CD slash, then it might be in that folder. Nope. You know what? Still trying to find it. Open a new window. Open in terminal. I was in the right folder, but it didn't come up. What in the? Okay, so cd dot auto run. No. Oh wait, dot slash auto run. Dot sh. Okay, sudo dot slash auto run. Permission denied. What? Okay. Dot slash. Okay, sudo. Okay, I should have done this. Dot vbox. Linux. Additions. Dot run. Okay. chmod plus x vbox plus x. Linux. Okay. And I guess we'll scrap that. Usually that works. Okay. Well, okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we'll just skip the VBox for now, guest editions for now. Let me see if I can up the resolution a little bit. Alright, that'll work. And Trinity is a fork of KDE3, so you're going to find that it's running Qt based software. Like KDE, it's going to have a lot of the same stuff that KDE has built into it. Of course, you have console as your terminal program. WebOS is Conqueror. And that's KDE's default browser, maintained by the KDE team. Now, I personally don't like Conqueror, mainly because it's lacking a lot of the features I usually use, and it has some issues with some sites. So I usually don't use it, but it is still a pretty good browser. It's better than Epiphany, which is Gnome's default browser that they maintain. Gosh, I hate Epiphany so much. Of course, we got programs, and we have, of course, the web browser, settings, look switcher, and here's your system. Of course, it's got all the KDE and Qt backend stuff right here. The sound mixer is KMix. Whoops. Yeah, of course you have the KJob viewer. But, I mean, it's basically based in KDE 3. A lot of people say that that Q4OS has a Windows feel, and it certainly does. But let's see. Of course, you have all the KDE utilities. Now, some of these utilities may not be completely up to date because it is a fork of KDE 3.5, which could be, depending on some Qt4 libraries. I think they're trying to migrate everything to Qt5, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Let's see. And of course, you have the Q4OS. Yeah, you can, but I mean, the thing is, it won't go full screen in VBox without guest additions. Yes, it does kind of look like Windows XP, and that's what a lot of people say. And some people complain that looks too much like Windows. I'm like, well, it's still Linux. Whether it looks like Windows or not, it's still Linux. Now, as far as what kernel it should be running 4.19. Let's go ahead, let's go to the terminal program and do a uname -r, and yeah, it's running kernel 4.19, which is Buster's kernel. Let's see, apt install, sudo apt install neo fetch. Let's take a look at neo fetch in a minute for a second, so we can find it. Maybe I can find out what version I'm running here, and might be in the control panel here. Help about Trinity. Okay, yeah, it should tell me. Trinity desktop is a fork of the K desktop environment, which was 3.5. The name Trinity was chosen because the word means three. This is Trinity release of 14.0.6, which I think is actually the most recent, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really that familiar with how they maintain Trinity, but let's run a neo fetch. Okay, running. Of course, it says it's Debian 10. It doesn't even recognize it as Q4OS. Okay, so let's go and run a free. Let's see how much memory. It's actually using only 268 megs of RAM, which is actually pretty darn good. That's almost light as LXQT is. But yes, it certainly does have a Windows-esque feel to it. Let's take a look at the chat. Okay. I think a lot of people actually liked Windows XP, so I don't necessarily have a problem with Windows XP looks. I liked Windows XP, so I really didn't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with it looking like Windows XP. So since I was based on Debian, I would have no problem with it. Now, I did the basic install, so it doesn't have things like LibreOffice installed, all that kind of stuff. Do you guys want to see what a full install with Q4OS looks? Because I can fire up the Plasma install. Let me know in the chat. because as you can see, when I did the basic install, it just installed a web browser and all just the system, that the stuff that the system requires to run. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and fire that up. We're gonna go ahead and shut down, because really there's not much to see here. We're going to go ahead and turn off computer. I'll be right back. Okay, this. Alright. Oh, no. Plasma, I have this installed. Yeah, I know. There's some lag. That's why it takes a second. That's why I waited, because normally it's about 30 seconds before I show and say something before you guys receive it. I can count on 30 seconds. Alright. Yeah, Nikita, I had it already installed. That's why the reason why I asked was because I wanted to offer it if I didn't have it installed, because I've got. But this is the plasma version. I wanted to do Trinity. I wanted to do a little bit more, but we're going on almost 3 hours on this stream, and we gotta get a move on soon. But so I probably should have just demonstrated this. But I think everyone knows what plasma looks like. Now, of course, it's got a game installed. It's got IO Riot Solitaire installed. It comes with Ocular as the graphics, as the picture viewer. What Ocular? What? Yeah. Picture library. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's an image viewer. And then I forgot what that. Okay, Scanlight. Okay, I should know what that was. That's a scanner application. Now I thought it was kind of interesting. The full install includes Google Chrome, and then of course you've got Conqueror right here. Thunderbird. I installed Zoom just to see if Flatpak worked out of the box, which you have to add the remote to Flatpak. It does not come with FlatHub renewed, which I think is kind of strange. Now, of course, it comes with the full Libre Office Suite install, and so that's basically what you get. Basically, what you get with a full install is Chrome. I'm not sure if it includes Chrome with Trinity. It probably does. And, oh yeah, and it's got your multimedia players here too. Now, it uses Clementine for its media player, which is actually quite an interesting choice. I shouldn't be surprised, because that's a Qt application. What version of Clementine are we using here? 1.3.1. That's actually a little bit older, but that's not something you see every day. Clementine installed by default. Actually, I like Clementine. Rosario, that's a CD burning and ripping software type thing. Burning software. SM2. I believe that's like a YouTube front end. Or something. Okay. Yeah, basically got, yeah, bet you that links to YouTube. But yeah, basically, and then you have VLC right here. So basically, yeah, you get. So basically, it just installs LibreOffice and your multimedia tools. That's what a full install would look like. No, actually, Mint does not use Clementine. Let's see, what does Mint use? Mint actually uses its own in-house media players, and Mint as far as Clementine would probably never include Clementine because Clementine is Qt based, and Cinnamon is a GTK app. And Cinnamon is a GTK-based desktop environment, whereas KDE is definitely Qt-based. So, as far as I know, Mint does not include Clementine by default. Unless they change that, but I have 19.3 installed on one of my laptops, and it didn't have Clementine on it. Actually, why do you say that as far as GTK is kind of set? Because honestly, I use GTK all the time, and I never have a problem with it. Matter of fact, it's a lot of times I prefer GTK apps. What's the difference between GTK and Qt? Well, it's just basically now visually, what most people would understand, what most people would see, you wouldn't know the difference between GTK and Qt. But basically, what it is just a back end of what people use as an API to design their theming and how their apps work. It's really just it's just a set of libraries that they use in the back end. Qt has their own libraries and GTK has their own libraries. Really visually, you wouldn't know the difference except if you like have a known desktop environment and you fire up a Qt based app, they're not gonna match. Not necessarily. Okay. There are ways to sync your GTK theme with your with your Qt themes if you actually know what you're doing. Let's see. Let's go to my Brave browser right here, and if you install this, I believe that's how you spell it. Yeah. There's an app called the Conventum app right here, and it has both GTK and Qt, and this is perfect for a lot of Qt and trying to sync GTK and Qt apps. This is what I usually use if I'm running Qt apps. But really, are you running Chromium as... yeah, Chromium doesn't really sync with your theme. Chromium has its own theming engine. But I'll tell you. Okay, your GTK apps look good. Are you using the Breeze theme? Because I can tell you why your GTK apps look good on Plasma. And we can go right here, since I have Plasma running, to my settings right here. And we're going to go ahead and hit settings. And then we're going to go ahead and maximize this. And we're going to go to workspace theme. And of course, I've got Breeze Dark here. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to desktop theme. Of course, Breeze Dark. And then I'm going to go to application style here. And then I can go to GTK known applications. And I can go ahead and set this to Breeze Dark. And I can go ahead and install a GTK app. And they're all going to look the same because KDE also maintains the Breeze and the Breeze Dark themes for GTK apps. So as long as you're using one of KDE's out-of-the-box themes, your GTK and your Qt apps will match. As long as you set them up to match. Now, granted, there are some Qt developers that make Qt apps, Qt themes. And then they also make GTK themes so that you can sync your GTK and your Qt. It always takes work, especially if you're not using. As long as you're using, if it will take a little bit more work if you're not using the out of the box Qt themes that KDE does not provide. Yeah, well, yeah, most of them do, but Chromium is a different project. Chrome is kind of the oddball app. Yeah, I'm going to be signing off in a minute too, CEO, whatever, however you pronounce that. Yeah, I'm going to be getting off here too. But yeah, that's the reason why, is because KDE set it up so you could sync your GTK themes as long as you're using their Breeze themes. Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Sorry it actually took so long to install and take a look at all this stuff. Usually it doesn't take that long to install. I'm going to have to take a look at my settings. But I will see everybody later. I hope you actually enjoyed hanging out with me and all that stuff. And wait a minute, what am I doing here? Hope that you enjoyed this little chat with me, because basically all we did was sit there and chat quite a bit. Hey, it was actually quite fun. I actually enjoy doing these streams. I will be doing a stream on Saturday, which would be April the 8th. No, not April the 8th, I'm sorry, April the 11th, which is the day before Easter. And we are going to be installing Arch, doing a base install all the way up to the desktop environment. So be sure to enjoy that and enjoy the endings, the ending clip, and have a good night. If you like my content and wish to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. The link is in the description. Also, if you wish to see more, check out the videos on your screen. If you like my content and wish to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. The link is in the description. Also, if you wish to see more, check out the videos on your screen.